Oh scheisse, here it is, the final map for Immortal Empires, showing all the faction start positions. We're going to go through it and I'll point out all of the factions that have moved from Warhammer 2 along the way as well. So let's go, starting up in this top left corner, I think. Big Dark Elf territory up here, of course. Malekith pretty much in the same spot. Crone pretty much in the same spot there. And down south you've got Taurox for the Beastmen, pretty much the same place he was before, the same as the Sisters for the Wood Elves. And then the Tomb Kings have got Hatep there too. So that's pretty much the same as it was in Warhammer 2 Mortal Empires. Now we've got some new additions in this area though. Grombrindle here finally got his own dedicated faction, so he's going to be a trouble for everyone in that area, especially Malekith. Might have a little bit of a tougher start now with Grombrindle on his doorstep. Over on the coast here, it's the Lady of the Coast, Lustria. She's moved from Mortal Empires and is now up here, so a little bit of Vampire Coast action up in this northwest corner. And just perched on the edge here in the Broken Lands province, we've got Nagaryth, Alith Anar, one of those lords that's moved. He used to be a little bit south of where he is now, so he hasn't moved a great distance, but he's now a little bit closer to a couple more Dark Elf fights, as well as all the other people that are around here, including Sigvold the Magnificent, his new dedicated faction up here as well, with his sexy face on the shield. Very nice. He's going to bring a little bit of a chaos invasion coming in from the north. Perhaps Crone might have to try and deal with that, so that could be an interesting challenge for her. But overall, this northwest corner is staying pretty much the same as it was in Mortal Empires with the factions that are already there, but now they've added in a whole bunch of new enemies and threats, which is really going to jazz this area up. I think there's only one legendary lord that's left this area, and that is Tretch for the Skaven, who is now elsewhere. Into the western area, it's pretty much the same here, to be honest. Mazdamundi in his same old spot, Marathi just there in her same spot as well. Ulthuan looking pretty much the same, except of course now Slaanesh or Nakari is there. So that's actually a pretty big threat for the High Elves as well, and Ulthuan, to be honest, that's going to be a tough target for them to get rid of, so that could pose a threat to those High Elf factions. We also see the Dread Fleet there for, what's his face? The guy with the pointy head, Noctilus. He's still in the middle of the ocean as he was before in the Galleon's graveyard. Otherwise, not really a lot changed here, just the addition of Nakari, which should bring a nice challenge for the High Elves. Moving full on down into Lustria now, we see a few similar faces. Marcus Wolfheart up the top there. He had one of the harder campaigns in Warhammer 2 Mortal Empires, so we'll see if that's got any easier now that he has a kind of a new setup in this land, as the shape of the land is quite different, so we'll see if that affects how hard his campaign is. We've also got the Vampire Coast there in their usual spot. But a new addition to this area, Bordelot. The French have arrived. Bretonia coming to try and take Lustria, it seems. Alberic looking to put down some lizards. Gorok, though, still in the centre. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And down to the south of the area, Lord Skrok for the Skaven, still pretty much in the same spot. He may have moved slightly, I'm not sure, but he's pretty much in roughly the area he was before. Tehenuin has moved. He was in this area in Lustria before, but he was a bit more north of where he is here, so Tehenuin, technically a new start position for him right down the south. Over in the west of this area, we can see another new addition. It's Ramsay motherfucking Bolton. Rakarth. For the Dark Elves. So we got some Dark Elves over here, although we did have some before because Locke here used to be over here, but he's moved elsewhere now, and also Teclis used to be over here, but he's buggered off. So this area got a little bit quieter, but did gain some Bretonians, but otherwise the same factions are around, they're just in slightly different positions. Down south a little more though is Oxyotl, who starts in the new area of the Southern Chaos Wastes, an interesting one to be in that area. But also, it doesn't really look like he has many options on where he can go. He either goes north and tries to take on his Lizardmen bros into Tehenuin or maybe Skrok, but more likely he would just push to the east and go through the southern wastes, taking out whatever may be there, perhaps some random chaos factions or something. But moving up into the Southlands here, things have got pretty busy and pretty crazy in this area. Starting at the south, we've got Kairos here for the Tzeentch boys. They're going to be working their way up north, going through the factions. Along the way, he'll meet the new Teclis position, just here in the jungles. Above him, pretty much in the same positions they were before, Krokgar and Thorek, both next to each other. And then a somewhat unexpected addition to this area, Manfred von Karstein coming down into the Nehekara area deserts, smack bang in the middle of all of these factions and all of this land. So an interesting start position for him. What might he be doing down here? One can wonder. And then just to the west of him, you've got the new position for Volkmar as well. So some Empire joining the fight down here in the desert regions. That's going to be a pretty cool start position for him, I think, although could be a tough one given all the surrounding armies. And just over from him, Tic-Tac-Toe, so more Lizardmen in the area. And then we've got the desert regions with all of the Tomb Kings factions, which are pretty much in the same positions they were before, so not really any changes there. Rapont's there as well, just on the coast of Araby. But overall, this area is looking a fair bit more exciting now, I think, with the inclusion of the Empire and the Vampire Counts at least. Not to mention Tzeentch here as well, some High Elves have arrived, so it's going to be a busy little area. Into the Badlands, we see a fair few changes, most notably that Khorne and Skarbrand have arrived here. So that's going to be a bit of a nightmare for the surrounding factions, which include Skaven, Clanmoors, Queek Headtaker there in Blightwater. A little bit of a different position, I think, but mostly the same, and very close to 8 peaks, closer than anyone else that might want 8 peaks, something of note. And on the other side of Skarbrand, we see Malagor for the Beastmen in the Marshes of Madness, pretty much where he was before. Over from him, the High Elves and Eltharion, pretty much the same spot as before. Into the Western Badlands, you've got the Greenskins and Wurzag, who seems to be maybe a little bit more north of where he was before, if that banner is exactly where he's going to start. So it might be a little bit of a different position for him, but mostly the same. And of course, this area wouldn't be complete without Karaz, Akarak, Thorgrim, the dwarfs, being in their usual spot. But Thorgrim won't have Grimgor to worry about anymore as he's moved away, making life much easier for Thorgrim, which may not be good for everybody else. Those dwarves are damn expensive. Above them though, the Crooked Moon in a new position away from the Empire areas they used to be in before. Now they're above these dwarfs and they're going to want to get down to 8 peaks, so they're going to have a new challenge getting down there, trying to get past the dwarfs. They've obviously got to fight Clan Moors who are closer to it, so it could still be one of the harder campaigns of Mortal Empires. Here as well in his new position, Tretch the Rat Boy. He's got a fairly nice position here. He's not super surrounded like a lot of the other factions are. He's got a bit of room to move. He does have Karaz Akarak to worry about though, so could be a tough position if they are going to be as expansive as they always usually are. Moving up into the southern realms, we see Belagar roughly in the same spot he was before, so no big change for him. We see Scrag though added to this area just on the Black Gulf. Hard to tell exactly where he is, but it seems like he's just going to be on the edge of that little bit of land there. Aranessa, pretty much in the same spot she was in before. Might have a bit of a tough spot there though with ogres on her doorstep, but hey, she can always sail away to wherever the hell she likes. Up in Skavenblight, Ikit in his usual position there. Still beastmen on the edges of Astalia, but now it's been switched. It used to be Kazrak that was there, but now it's going to be Morgor. So a little bit of a switch around there, I think. Above that, Carcassonne, same place as before. Wood Elves, same place as before, of course, in Athel Loren, both Orion and Durthu. Grom there in the middle of all of it as well, same place as he was in Mortal Empires, so not a great deal of changes around to this area, mainly just that addition of ogres. And then moving north into the Reichland and surrounding areas, pretty much the same as it was before for the most part, to be honest. Bretonnia, same position. Kemla for the vampires, same position. Reichland and Golden Order, of course, same positions. In the northern areas though, those beastmen, which as I said were switched around, so now Kazrak is up the top there near Middenland, probably looking to take Toddy's other fucking eye. And over eastward a bit, you've still got Dryka there, you've still got the von Carsteins looking after Sylvania, Karak Kudrin with Ungrim there, all the same as it was before. Moving north, we have Kislev added now, of course, who weren't technically there before, so they've got their lands added in. Going to be a similar shape to Mortal Empires Warhammer 2 rather than being like Chaos Realms Warhammer 3, it would seem, so a little bit of a smaller area overall for Kislev perhaps. Azag pretty much in the same position he was before, although again might be a slightly different shape to what he's used to. Throt there for the Skaven in Hellpit, same position as before. Throg above that into Norska, same position. Wulfric in Norska seems to have changed his position slightly though. He was more in Icetooth Mountains before, and now he's kind of more at the back of Norska in the Vanaheim Mountains, so I think his position has changed slightly. And then over in Albion, you now have Be'lakor and the Shadow Legion, so a pretty interesting start for him. He's going to have many different directions he can go, many paths to take, and I think he'll even be near a sea lane as well, so he can literally go wherever the hell he wants. And then right up north, right in the center, you've got Malus Darkblade in the Eternal Lagoon. Dark Elves fans will I'm sure be happy that he now actually has a way to get his Black Ark out into the ocean and all around the world rather than being stuck in the corner. And just over from him, it's your boy Daniel with the Demons of Chaos up in these new northern regions, these provinces I don't think were here before, so completely fresh area for them to be in. Just down from them as well, you've got Boris, so more Kislev, just a little more in the north than the rest of them. And then we have arguably the most interesting part of the map here, because, well, in the north we see Archaon in the Blood Marshes, or maybe Bloodfire Falls there. That's his technically new start position, but still kind of the same as his old one, just kind of to the northeast of Kislev. But the interesting point about this area is you've probably noticed how empty it is. And why do we think that is? Well, that's right, you've guessed it. It's because everyone's afraid of Grimgor. Nobody wants to go near the greenskins smack bang in the center of this place, except for Kolek. Apparently he's not afraid, he's going in for it, but everyone else is scared, so that's why this area is empty. That's definitely the reason. No one wants to mess with the best. At least that's my 100% solid gold theory. The other theory some idiots might follow is that maybe the Chaos Dwarfs are going to fill up this space, but that seems very ridiculous and definitely not going to happen. Moving on into the last few areas, it's the Cathay regions, of course. Miao Ying up in the north defending the bastions. She's next to the three of those that you can see on the map there. Down to the south and slightly to the west, you've got Zhao Ming defending the western Warpstone Deserts, so he's kind of in the same position, but now this area has been rotated from how it was in Chaos Realm, so it's going to feel very different, I think. I look forward to trying that out. Over in the mountains of Mourn, it's of course your big boy, Greasus. He's going to be pretty much in his same position, although again, this area is going to have been rotated and is going to feel quite different, I think. And he doesn't really have a lot of factions around him. It's quite quiet down there, at least as Legendary Lords go anyway. So Greasus might be one of the easier campaigns with a bit more freedom on going in whichever hell direction you like. In the Cathay regions as well, of course, it's Clan Eshin, Deathmaster Snitch, who yes, was in the Chaos Realms, but as a Warhammer 2 faction, he was kind of dumbed down to not be too powerful. Well, he's not going to be like that anymore, so these two Cathay factions are going to have to worry about him a lot more. And he was one of those factions in Warhammer 2 Mortal Empires that could expand very quickly and could be an absolute nightmare in like the mid-game when he just rolls on you when he's got like 50 settlements and all these invisible stalk ambush armies. Could be a serious nightmare for Cathay. Over on the coast there, against the plains of Zhen, there be Dark Elves. It's Lockhere Fellheart over here on the coast. Going to potentially be able to invade Cathay, or he's going to have those sea lanes nearby, I think, which should allow him to go wherever the hell he wishes. So that could be a campaign with a good bit of freedom. And down south from there, our last area of the day, over in Cathay, down in the bottom right, we see Nakai for the Lizardmen. He's taken a little trip. We can assume he's still going to be a horde, so we'll see how his campaign was. People weren't a fan of it in Warhammer 2, so we'll see if there's any adjustments, if it's any better. Maybe it'll be better in this position. We'll have to see. Also in this area, a new faction. It's Helman Gorst for the Vampire Counts. He's got his own dedicated faction here. So a completely new experience for him and a completely new land. Gonna be a fresh campaign. Nurgle here in the Dragon Isles. An interesting spot. Kugath starting down there. Doesn't seem like the best place to try and spread plagues from down there. Not really surrounded by anything but water, but I'm sure he'll make it work. Either way, for a Nurgle player, it'll be quite a different experience than the Chaos Realms area where he started before. And our last start position of the day, it's High Elf Dragon Boy Imric, starting in pretty much the same position he did before, but he had a really rough start in Mortal Empires before. It was a really hard campaign. You'd either have a massive Empire Grimgor breathing down your neck, or Clan Eshin would expand quickly and they'd be all over you, or maybe Clan Moors, or maybe the Dwarves Karazakarak, so it was a hard position to be in. Hopefully it'll be a bit better and more fun now. But there it is, all the start positions for Immortal Empires. Now you have the fun decision of trying to figure out who you want to play first. Let me know. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the future.